Welcome to IBI's presentation on the IBI Biochar Standards. We'll start with an overview of IBI's organizational structure, our mission and vision. Then we'll get into the details of the IBI Biochar Standards program, including the rationale for the standards and the history of the process leading up to the publication of the first version of the standards in May 2012. We'll also discuss the basic elements of the standards and how they are being put to use in IBI's Biochar certification program, which will be launched in the very near future. IBI is a 501c3 nonprofit organization based in the United States. We were formed in 2006 and initially focused our efforts on supporting international biochar conferences. Since our early days, we have expanded our mission to support researchers, commercial biochar entities, policymakers, and other stakeholders in the production and use of biochar. Our mission is to promote the development of biochar systems that follow cradle-to-cradle sustainability guidelines. Our vision is to support the commercialization of sustainable biochar systems at all scales by 2015 that, with the use of biochar, will 1. Help solve the global food security crisis and ensure soil security. 2. Help solve our global climate change crisis. 3. Help make agricultural production at all scales more sustainable. The IBI Biochar Standards rationale. Biochar is a spectrum of materials that are produced from a variety of feedstocks and under varying thermochemical process conditions, from small-scale batch slow pyrolysis to industrial-scale flash pyrolysis. The end product biochar could contain toxic substances if it was made from certain feedstocks, like those containing plastics, or from contaminated soils, or processed under certain high process temperature scenarios where toxicants can form. IBI believes that for a successful biochar industry to emerge, biochar sellers need to be able to consistently demonstrate the efficacy and safety of their product. A solution is an internationally accepted standards developed transparently and with input from biochar experts, industry, and the public. Such standards exist for many other related product lines, from compost to organic foods. The IBI Biochar Standards process. In May 2009, IBI staff created a discussion document titled Biochar Characterization and presented early ideas on how to standardize biochar characterization at various public conferences. In late 2010, IBI received funding to partner with Leading Carbon Ltd., an expert in standards development, to create a full set of biochar characterization standards. Working with Leading Carbon, IBI convened an international working group and created 2 sets of draft standards with input from the international biochar community to ensure multiple perspectives on the use and functionality of this tool. A process design also provided for a final balloting period that would allow all registered current members of IBI to vote whether or not to adopt the IBI Biochar Standards. This open and transparent process would also allow other entities to easily adopt the IBI Biochar Standards as the basis for their own regulatory or certification schemes. In May 2012, IBI members voted to approve version 1 of the IBI Biochar Standards by a 91% majority. The IBI Biochar Standards basic elements, feedstocks. Now we will get into the basic elements of the IBI Biochar Standards. First, feedstocks. There are 2 classes of feedstocks, unprocessed and processed. Unprocessed feedstocks are essentially agricultural or forestry industry biomass residues. Such examples include corn stover, grain straw, rice hulls, and forestry slash. Processed feedstocks include those feedstocks that have undergone either chemical processing, for example paper pulp sludge, or biological processing, beyond simple mechanical processing to modify its physical properties, for example digestion, such as manures and sludge from waste effluent treatment. The IBI Biochar Standards basic elements, characteristics, and toxicants. There are 3 categories of biochar testing requirements. This is really the meat and bones of the standards. Test Category A is required for all biochars. This set of tests measures the most basic properties required to assess the utility of a biochar material for use in soil. For example, organic carbon content and pH. Test Category B is also required for all biochars. This set of tests gets at the potential toxicity of biochar materials by direct testing of known potential toxicants in biochar. This includes polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs, and dioxins, which can arise during thermochemical processing, and polychlorinated biphenyls, PCBs, and metals, which can be present in feedstocks used to make biochar. There is also an indirect toxicity test, the germination inhibition assay, which measures plant seedling response to biochar amended soils. Finally, Test Category C is an optional category for all biochars. These tests provide advanced biochar physiochemical properties in addition to meeting test requirements for test categories A and B. Producers may report on none, one, some, or all of the properties in Test Category C, but must report on all properties in categories A and B. The IBI Biochar Standards, Basic Elements, Testing and Labeling. In addition to the feedstock requirements and characteristic and toxicant tests, the standards provide a protocol for testing, labeling, and record keeping. For example, all biochars must be tested annually to be considered in compliance with the standards. However, if there has been a material change in feedstock, say from 100% chicken manure to 80% chicken manure and 20% cow manure, a producer is required to retest. Approved biochars wishing to show that they've passed the standards must put a label with testing and product information on the biochar product. Furthermore, detailed record keeping is required, including throughout the feedstock and biochar chain of custody, so that biochar producers can verify feedstock sourcing or pyrolysis process parameters if needed. Details of all of this are available in the IBI Biochar Standards, available on our website. The IBI Biochar Standards. Moving forward. The next steps for the IBI Biochar Standards are release of version 1.1 of the standards in the very near future. Version 1.1 will provide numerous improvements and clarifications over the original version. Secondly, and more importantly, IBI is finalizing a biochar certification program that will enable producers to certify that they have passed the IBI Biochar Standards. We believe that having a widely accepted IBI seal of approval on biochar products will give potential biochar consumers assurances of product safety. The IBI Biochar Certification Program. Being able to verify that producers have indeed complied with the standards is the key objective of the IBI Biochar Certification Program. When producers have been approved, they will be able to place the IBI Certified Biochar seal on their product. IBI is very close to finalizing the details of this program, and we anticipate launch initially in the United States and Canada in the coming weeks. We of course welcome feedback from the global biochar community at all times. Please visit our website for updates to the standards and certification programs and for many other informational resources on these exciting new programs. And finally, for general inquiries on IBI and for information about the benefits of becoming an IBI member, please send an email to info@biochar-international.org. Also visit our website, www.biochar-international.org. You can help IBI put the earth back in black with biochar. Thank you.